In the first two videos, we discussed the L in life, which stands for lay out the case, the I in life, which stands for introduce the baby. In this third video, we now take a look at the letter F in life, which stands for force the dilemma. If you've been involved in the pro-life movement for any given time, I'm sure you've heard abortion groups like Planned Parenthood and others shout things like, women have a right to privacy, my body, my choice, every baby a wanted baby, don't like abortion? Don't have one. Hearing these statements and arguments can be pretty intimidating and hard to answer, but don't panic, because I'm going to show you how to force the dilemma with each of these four arguments used by abortion advocates. But before I do this, it's important to point out that every abortion rights argument believes that a mother's right to abort her unborn child is more valuable and worth defending than it is to defend the objective truth and value of the unborn. So just remember, when dealing with abortion arguments, they're not based on objective morality, but are merely a matter of personal preference or opinion. This is how you force the dilemma when an abortion advocate says that a woman's right to have an abortion is based on her right to privacy. Start off by acknowledging that we all believe in our right to privacy. We know that it's not right for a stranger to barge into your house uninvited. That's an invasion of privacy. But to go from invasion to the personal right to abort an unborn baby are two different things. Right to privacy has its limits. For instance, privacy doesn't necessarily infer morality, nor is it an absolute right. You can't argue right to privacy as you abuse children or operate a meth lab in your basement. So to force the dilemma, simply ask, if you support the woman's right to privately abort her unborn baby, then shouldn't that same mother have a right to privately abuse her children? Naturally, beating children and aborting unborn babies in private is no more acceptable than if it were done in public. So you can see the dilemma that you've put them in. Now, of course, the hope is that the abortion advocate will see the dilemma they are in and accept your point, which is the right to privacy is not a greater right than the right to live. But let's say the abortion advocate persists and starts arguing about due process under the 14th Amendment from the decision of Roe v. Wade in 1973. What you want to do at this stage is ask a few pressing questions to separate their argument from what is legal to what is morally good. So here's a few follow-up questions. Question 1. If science proves that the unborn are human, then why does the woman's right to privacy overrule the unborn baby's right to live? Question 2. If the unborn are human, then shouldn't they too be given the same protective rights under the Constitution? As you can see, this argument is based on one key thing: the body of the mother. So to work your way into the discussion, start off by asking this clarifying question: would you say a car parked in the garage is part of the garage or not? Of course, they will say no, the car is not part of the garage, which you then ask, so then, would you say the unborn baby in his or her mother's womb is a part of the mother or not? If they say no, then you got them to admit the unborn is a separate human being. If they say yes, then here are a few follow-up questions to get them thinking. Question 1. How is the unborn a part of the mother if he or she has their own genetic code, sex, and individual fingerprints? Question 2. If an embryo can be conceived in a petri dish, you wouldn't say the embryo is a part of the dish, would you? What we're hoping the abortion advocate will come to realize is that an unborn baby is not a part of his or her mother's body, but is a separate living human being that is nesting in the womb until birth, and therefore demonstrating that the my body, my choice isn't a morally sound argument for abortion. However, if they still argue that because it's her body, she then has a right to have an abortion, you can cut to the chase by simply asking, so let me get this straight. What you're saying is you believe a person's life choices are more important than the innocent human life in the womb? You see, a mother's choice, gender, body, or her views doesn't give her the right to intentionally kill an innocent human life. No one has that right. And so to force the dilemma, what you're going to do is take the my body, my choice argument and turn it on itself. You do this by simply asking the abortion advocate, If an expected mother has the right to abort her unborn baby, does she still have the right to kill her baby after birth? Naturally, the abortion advocate will say no, because no mother is morally justified in killing her child, which you could then wrap up by asking, then why is it okay for the mother to intentionally kill her unborn baby when science proves the unborn are human? Notice in this argument how the abortion advocate doesn't discuss the nature of the unborn at all, but rather sticks to the condition of the mother. For instance, an expected mother has come to the tough choice, whatever the reason, to have an abortion. The abortion advocate acknowledges her disposition and argues for the right as a human being to abort the baby. Every baby, a wanted baby, they say. However, this argument is not based on facts. It is simply a subjective attempt to justify the killing of an innocent human life. It's on par to wanting to keep or sell a car, or preferring a certain donut over another. Therefore, this argument is without any objective merit. So let's force the dilemma by setting up a scenario to expose the partiality of this claim. Imagine you have on one operating table doctors scrambling to save the life of a premature baby, while on another, an unborn baby being aborted. One mother chooses to save her unborn baby, while the other mother chooses to intentionally kill her unborn baby. One baby is wanted, the other isn't. Now, after setting up this scenario, then ask the abortion advocate, how can both cases be morally permissible if one intentionally kills an unborn baby while the other saves an unborn baby? Remember, this question sticks to the 2 points of our pro-life argument. If humans have value and science proves the unborn are human, then how can both cases be morally permissible at the same time and in the same sense? Obviously, it can't. A human life isn't valued based on whether it is wanted or not. Humans are valuable because they are human. Therefore, there are no moral grounds that constitutes people arbitrarily choosing one life over the other. Would they say that about slavery? Don't like slavery? Then don't own a slave. Of course not. Why? Because all human beings, despite their color or creed, have value simply because they are human. And yet, at one time in our nation's dark history, the Supreme Court ruled in Dred Scott versus Sandford of 1857 slavery to be legal because blacks were not considered persons. And then in 1973, the Supreme Court in Roe v. Wade also ruled that the unborn were not human, resulting in the legalization of abortion on demand. However, both rulings were morally wrong because in both cases, the Supreme Court wasn't dealing with partial humans, but fully fledged members of the human family from the start. And so the way to force the dilemma is to ask the abortion advocate why they don't cry foul for the unborn as they do against slavery. They can't have it both ways. Since science undeniably proves that unborn are human, that makes abortion an unjustly act that wrongly kills the life of a human. If this truth helped set slaves free and put an end to the Holocaust under Hitler and the Nazi Party, then so too must this truth be applied to the abortion Holocaust that has claimed the lives of tens of millions of unborn babies in America.